In their West Austin courtyard garden, Margie and Al McClurg never run out of memory making.
There's something about the space and walking amongst the flowers and the plants and everything that is so satisfying, that it's better than therapy, or it is therapy. So going out and strolling in a beautiful garden, wherever you are, to me, is just one of the most wonderful things you can do. So to be able to create one was really, really wonderful.
Their co-creator is Jackson Broussard of Sprout, who designed a lovely, cohesive garden from its former randomly organized spring bloomers.
After everything bloomed out, all the irises and the daylilies and all that stuff, then there was nothing that could really hold the garden together. The big thing that I felt that would really improve this garden was adding a backbone to it. Okay, so adding evergreens, adding structure, adding some architectural elements, and to help pull it together, help it make sense. A wandering garden is fine, but it's also really nice if you have direction and you have destination, a place to go. And that's really how the evolution of this thing started. But the big thing is, more than anything, more than the architecture, are all the evergreen plants. So it's the Yucca rostratas, it's the Italian cypress, the wavy pad cactus, the Nalinas are a big thing. And so how to mix those throughout the garden and create that backbone is very, very important. But to really show plants off, you have to mix the leaf type. And what that means is, so a boxwood has a very small leaf, okay, so the size of a dime or smaller. But you put that next to, say, an amaryllis that has a long, skinny, broad leaf and a big, overpowering flower. The two really contrast, and then they show each other off. And also massing is another big thing. If you just had one boxwood next to one amaryllis, next to one duranta, for example, and one persicaria, all of those will kind of grow together over time and just be sort of a jungle, and nothing will show itself off. If you put 4 or 5 boxwoods next to 10 amaryllis, next to 4 durantas, next to 25 persicaria, then you have these big, strong masses, and they all do things at different times of the year. And so you play with that a little bit too, and all of that contrast and everything coming on at different times of the year really makes for a successful garden that's interesting all year round. If you can, work with 7, 9, 12, 15 of the same plant, and it'll be fantastic.
Flowering perennials and annuals for round-the-calendar nectar, pollen, and seeds guarantee pollinators and birds. The herb garden feeds everybody.
The herbs that I like the most, I always have on hand, which are the basic things like parsley and thyme and sage. The fennel I grow for the caterpillars because they have their way with it, and then they regenerate in then you have these beautiful butterflies. So that's for them. And the rosemary, of course, is one of the herbs that I use a lot. But yeah, and they're beautiful. You know, they bloom, they have their own life cycles. The bees love them, and I love them. I use them in cooking, and I love to be able to come out and snip my herbs.
Fragrance sensates every season. But when you've got 4 inches of soil over rock, you need a little boost. For years, Julie Clark of Stronger Than Dirt has strengthened the McClurg soil with life-giving compost.
Get the soil system healthy, and your garden will take less water. Funguses, pests, all of that will be less because your plants are healthy.
To get around the garden, Jackson chose pea gravel from Marble Falls. Since that soil is granite-based, the tan color is less harsh than white limestone gravel.
But this gravel, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's much more natural looking, and if it's in a sunny location, there's virtually no glare. White in the landscape is, number one, very difficult to keep clean, and so this hides a lot of leaf litter and acorns and twigs and things. The white, it really kind of shows it off, and so you're constantly out there cleaning it. Wherever there's going to be a walking or sitting surface, okay, we put down about 3 inches or so of road base, and then we compact that, and then we only put about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of gravel on top of that. And then we do one compaction of the gravel, and then we sort of dust it. Just be careful though, because we have the trees and everything that are planted within the gravel. So the way that we do that, we just pocket plant. So there's no road base that goes up to the trunk of the tree. The road base stays 3 feet or so off the trunk. You really need to have the road base in. Otherwise, if you just put pea gravel on top of regular soil, and then you put table and chairs, most of the time your chairs will sink. Originally, there was walking paths throughout, and those sort of meandered, and then basically what we did was we carved out this rectangle spot in the middle of all of that for the table and for the arbor, and linked that with the walking paths to create sort of a hub, so that you come here, this is your destination, and then from this destination you can break off.
Bradford pears, trained over metal supports, harbor a roomy teak table.
They have their leaves on them in the summertime when you want the shade, but then in the winter, when you want the sun to come through and to warm you up while you're drinking your coffee, it's deciduous, so the leaves are gone, and so it allows the light to come through and the warmth of the sun.
This is what made it so complete and wonderful. If I'd been in Europe sitting here, I'd think, gosh, this is fabulous.
One more thing I think that really makes a garden are all of the special elements, whatever those might be. Margie and Al travel, and they do pick up small sculpture pieces and things like that in different places, and that that's really special. You know, it reminds you of the places that you've been in your life and good times, and I love mixing those sorts of objects in that can make it very, very personal and unique and one of a kind. Plants are fantastic, but when it's incorporated with man-made things, and those two really play off of each other, it's very, very strong, and it's a very, very elegant and very simple way to bring the whole garden together, really.
But it's been an evolution, as you can imagine. I have a whole list of things that didn't make it, dead, died, doesn't work. So we're down to what does work. But it takes a while to figure it out. I wish everybody had a beautiful space, because it makes your life work. It makes your life so satisfying to be able to come out here, have a cup of coffee, or when you're stressed. I think I'll go sit out in the garden for a while and just relax and cool down. I don't know where else I'd rather be right now.